coming in early. Very grateful. Hi, ma'am. Good evening, ma. I see another person, Mrs. Femi Ajala. Okay, recording is on. Let me share my screen now. Okay, can you still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good. All right. Again, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your time with us today. Not everyone would be on the call as at 4 p.m. because today is a weekday and some people do 9 to 5. With Lagos Extension, we have 9 to 6 or 9 to 7. So that's why this period will be recorded so that when everyone is settled back home, they can watch it, and then we have sessions for question and answer. For as many as joining at the end of the presentation, we'll have a lot of question and answers. But for those who would watch the recorded video, would have the entirety of next week to handle questions. So let me just get right into the presentation. Okay, so welcome to day one, the woman and her work. Let me first just inform you that this is not going to be the typical work-life balance you're used to, where we're going to be talking about delegation, time management, etc. That's not all the conversation we will have. We're going to start from the very basic, from our very core. There are certain things we need to get right first as women before we even begin the conversation of work-life balance. And so that's the dimension we'll be starting with today. My name is Temitokwe Omahalen, but I'm fondly called T-Bog. I am the managing partner of T-Sage and T-Bog Consult. T-Sage and T-Bog Consult is a wellness company. That's the company currently sponsoring what we're doing right now. It's a family wellness and workplace wellness consulting firm. I got my master's degree from the prestigious University of Lagos. So if I have Unilag people here, a huge shout out. I know if there are Ife people here and Ibadan people, you guys will fight me. But for now, Unilag the great. So I got my first and second degree in human physiology from the University of Lagos, Nigeria, and some certifications in social psychology and developmental psychology from the University of Queensland, Australia, and also from emotions management from Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence. And I also have roots in the wellness industry by my affiliation with the Cherry Blair Foundation for Women. But beyond all of the story I just shared, I'll begin this meeting today by giving you an idea of how we started, how T-Sage and T-Bog ever even started, and why I'm doing what I currently do now, so that you'll have a backdrop and you'll understand why we're going in the dimension we're going in today. So my first recollection of my childhood will be probably when I was 6 years old, I think. Back then, I used to battle self-esteem a lot. Some of my primary school mates and even some secondary school mates who would see me now would just be shocked that, what? So my first recollection of family life began when I was 6. I grew up thinking that my dad loved my younger brother more than he loved me. And so I became a tomboy. And maybe, being a tomboy would get his attention. It did not. But it wasn't until decades later I realized that the man actually loved me, like really, really loved me. But his way of expressing it was the problem. And so I misinterpreted what happened in there. But as a fallout of my believing he did not love me, I made some very, very horrible decisions that were taken because I was looking for love. And Eventually, I ended up in a very toxic workplace, in a workplace where my boss would beat me up. Well, I wasn't the only one who was beating anyway, but he would beat me up. I mean, at this time, I had my master's degree. And so I was in that kind of atmosphere, sexual harassment, emotional bombardment. It was a super toxic environment. And I was there for about 2 years until I got help from the outside. I mean, there are some people who just discovered what was going on and talked me out of being there. And somehow I found strength to quit, and I quit. So on my journey of finding healing, also I said to myself that there are mistakes I made that were contingent or were as a result of family life experiences. And during this healing journey, I had a lot of teenagers, a lot of adolescents coming to me to ask questions, about their parents, this is what they're doing to me. Father doesn't love me. I don't think he loves me. If they were the ones who gave birth to me, they shouldn't be treating me this way. They don't understand me, questions like that. And I found myself at about 17 years. I was 17 at the time, if I recollect properly. I found myself, having to mentor teenagers my age and some even older than I was. Somehow they just believed that I had the answers. And that was how my journey to mentoring teenagers started. So when I decided to begin the business, we were going to secondary schools, to talk to the students themselves, showing them the physiology and the psychology behind why they behave the way they do, and to also let them see that their biological vulnerabilities can push them to making certain mistakes that will be avoided if they had a mentor or a parent they can confide in, not just their peers as best friends. And we were doing that for a while when we realized a gap. We realized that a lot of these students were really opening up to what we were teaching them. They wanted to have this experience with their parents. But the parents were not prepared to handle that kind of relationship. So you find that children are taking what we teach them and want to implement it. But because the parents do not understand, it's met with a roadblock and we're back to square one. And so we took a break from going to schools and started targeting parents. So you find us going to PTA meetings just to talk to parents. After talking to them at PTA meetings, we then go back to the students and say, okay, now we're ready for you. And so we began to bridge that gap, and the relationship between the parents and the children were getting better. And then we noticed another gap. So that was how the family wellness dimension of TSAGE and TBOG started. So when we noticed this second gap, it was a gap where we saw that sometimes parents even want to be the best they can be. They are actually opening up, or they are open to, changing and evolving to utilizing unconventional parenting techniques to handle their children, particularly in this 21st century technology-driven social climate. But we found that they also, as parents, were actually dealing with certain things in the workplace. Things hampering with their productivity at work, and it was filtering back to the family. So you find some who were finding it difficult to spend time at home, even if they wanted to. You find some who were dealing with a very toxic workplace and will carry the aggression back home. And so we started the corporate wellness dimension of TSAGE and TBOG, where we would go to corporate organizations, visit the HR department, try to coach the employees and sometimes even the managers on how to make their workplace a psychologically safe haven, how to become a 7-star employee. We give them different tools to help the workplace become emotionally friendly using our signature product, Workplace Emotions. And so that was how the work dimension and the family life dimension of what we do started. And so we saw that truly we had become a bridge between the workplace and the home place, trying to help every individual we come in contact with find that balance so that they are doing well at work and they're also doing well at home. And at home, not just doing well with their children, but also doing well with their spouses. And that's how TCG and Tibok kept evolving. So where we are now is being that bridge. So you still find us going to schools to talk to adolescents, to talk to parents, we go to religious organizations, to talk to the marital groups of certain churches, but we still go to corporate organizations to train them on emotional intelligence, train them on everything that can make the workplace productive so that there's that balance. And so that's how work-life balance became an integral part of what we do at TCH and Tibok Consult. But for the purpose of today, we are speaking specifically to the woman, and these are the things we'll be talking about today. The first thing we will do is the life clock. We're going to do an exercise called the life clock. I hope everyone has a pen there and a book. I have my pen and book here. We're going to be needing it, and if you have a calculator, all the more interesting, because we'll really be needing these things. It's going to be a very, very practical session. I do hope that more people will join in so that we can do the exercises real time. But if not, it's no problem at all. They can also watch the recording, and if they also have questions, they can send it in. The second thing we'll be talking about are the 3 truths about success. There are 3 major things we all need to know about success, because it's going to redefine how we see success. We're going to be talking about the 8-star woman. I'll be introducing you to this concept, and I will show you how to evolve into becoming that 8-star woman. And then I'm going to take you on the AAHA system of thought. This one is very dear to me because it was in the course of doing a lot of research, meditating and all of that, it was just an inspired thought that birthed the AAHA system of thought, and we have tested it on many individuals, and the results have been profound. Finally, we'll talk about the 6 life exercise. I hope everybody, I hope we've all done these assignments, because we're going to be treating it today. And I hope your workbook is nearby, because we're going to be looking a lot at it. So let's begin with the life clock exercise. Now, imagine that you are an employee of a company called Life. Just imagine, your birth was your employment in the company, and your birth certificate was your employment letter. In this company, retirement age varies with the individual depending on a number of variables, but 72 is the average retirement age. So let me tell you how we got 72. According to the United Nations World Population Statistics, average life expectancy as of 2018 was 70 to 72. So we left it at 72, yeah? Now, how old are you right now? Write it in your book, yeah? I hope we're all doing this assignment. I'm with my pen. I'm also doing mine here. So write your current age in your book, then divide it by 72. If you have your calculator there, please do it. If you don't have, we're going back to our SS1 or GSS1. We're doing our mathematics. I really didn't like maths and stuff. English was my preferred subject. Okay, so have you written your age? Please write it. Divide it by 72. Are we there? Let me see in the chat. Are we there? Okay. So now the next thing is multiply your answer by 24. What did you get? I'm getting 10 points, yeah? So multiply your answer by 24. Please put your answers in the chat box. Let me see what your answers are. So your current age divided by 72 multiplied by 24. What's your answer? So let's all keep your answers coming in. Keep your answers coming in. Yeah, and for those who would listen to the recorded version, make sure you do it. It's very important you do it because it's going to give you insights to some very interesting things. Yeah? So when you multiply your results by 24, okay, I can see 0.33. No, you have to multiply that by 24. So you're doing your current age divided by 72 multiplied by 24, right? Okay, I'm seeing some answers. I'm seeing 0.33. Oh no, you still have to do your multiplication. So you're doing current age. Yeah, I can see 8. Okay. Current age divided by 72 multiplied by 24. Now, while you keep your answers coming in, one of the reasons we are doing this time of life exercise is because we have multiple, yeah, okay, I can see 8, 8, 10.33. Okay. One of the reasons we are doing this exercise is because we have a wide range, age range here. We have people who are, okay, I apologize. The notifications are coming in. All right. So are we good? So one of the reasons we are doing this exercise is because we have a wide range of participants here. We have some people in their very, very early 20s, some in their very, very late teens, some in their late 20s, some in their early 30s, some in their 40s, and some in their 50s. So we have quite a range of audience here. And it's important we do this exercise. So let's go on. Let's look at what it implies. Now, for those of you who saw 8, I want us to carry out a quick recap into our lives. When you wake up in the morning, so some people wake up at 6 a.m., some 5, some 4, depending on how far work is. Yeah. And so you wake up in the morning, say 6 a.m., you still feel somewhat tired, but you have to drag yourself to the bathroom, have your bath, get ready. By 7, you're in transit. By 8, you're resuming work. For some people, 9 is when they resume work. And so when you resume work, you're settling in, you're trying to, gather momentum for the day. By 10, you're in the peak of work. Now, the reason I'm describing that is because we are going to use that here. So for those who had 8 a.m., I want you to look at the screen. Let me use my highlighter so that you will see. Good. You see what? So for those who were within 6 and 8 a.m., I hope you all can still see my screen. The phase of day you are is actually early morning, and the activity that would most likely be going on at that time is that you're getting set and you're journeying to the workplace. Now, what's the significance of that? It's at this age that there's a quest for personal identity and relevance. It's at this age many times that there's a consciousness of the future. There's deliberate education, and you're beginning to ask yourself about career prospects, right? So it's at this age, those things are coming to you. Now, why this is important is because in our generation, we find a lot of young people desperate to make money quick, desperate to hit it, bam, just wanting that explosive success, right? And so this time of life is helping you situate your hunger for success so that you're not unintentionally hard on yourself, and you don't put yourself in a desperate phase or in a desperate state of mind where you end up making certain mistakes. If you are 19 to 24 and you still don't seem to have a sense of clarity per se or identity, you're still asking those questions. It's normal. Absolutely normal. Don't be hard on yourself. I was in the midst of people who, as at 17, some of my friends already knew what they wanted. I did not know. As of 22, I still had no idea what it was I wanted out of life. I was just going through life, but I was asking questions. It wasn't until 25 where I had proper clarity, right? But a lot of people around me already had their clarity. So this is just showing you that, hey, don't rush yourself. If you're in this phase of life and you are trying to have get answers to those life questions and you're not having them yet, don't beat yourself up. You're actually in that phase where you're just getting set, right? So for those who were between 8 and 10, you're settling into work, right? So the significance of that is that there's an induction into your career. You're beginning to build financial stability. You're beginning to look for a place to stay. So that's the age range of 25 to 30. And then for those who are between 10 and 12 noon, that's late morning. So that's the gradual build-up of work momentum. When you're at work, within this period, you're actually hitting a lot of targets. And it's usually about this period that there's a definite sense of career, family is coming up, you're beginning to have your own space, accommodation, and all of that, right? And then there's 12 to 3 p.m. About this time, this is somewhere where lunch break is. So at this point, some people are beginning to take a break, right? So here there's early career success. That's the significance. There's career growth. It's at this phase you find people wanting to change jobs or, going to early retirement. It's at this phase you find people wanting to do investments. Family growth is happening, at this phase of life. And then you have those between 3 to 6. So if you're having answers like 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, just interpret it as 1800, that's 6 p.m. 1700, that's 5 p.m., right? 1500, that's 3 p.m. So interpret it that way. So for those who are within this age range, you're seeing that there's a visible success in career. There's family stability. Investment on children. At this age, children are most likely veering into the university or graduating from university. This is the second phase of life. Yeah. And for those who were within 6 p.m. to say past 9 p.m., you're entering into retirement. That's the age of 55 to 65. The reason we are doing this is so that we can situate where we are and not put ourselves under undue pressure. A lot of times we hear things like, people in their 30s or mid-30s end up going through midlife crisis, right? I don't entirely see it as midlife crisis because going by this strategy we're working with, this time of life exercise you're working with, it's not entirely a crisis, right? So you don't beat yourself up if you're beginning to feel discontent with where you are and you want to transit elsewhere. You are at that phase of life where you are asking questions. Okay, now I've done this, I've experienced this. Is this what I really want? And you are beginning to ask those questions. So those things are normal. The reason I started with the time of life exercise is because I know that as women, generally, we sometimes have questions. I have a friend who her aspiration was to tour Africa. That was what she wanted to do. But she wasn't able to do it because she got tied up in another organization. But now she's 36 and she's beginning to revisit her dreams of when she was a young lady, asking herself, oh, should I have gone this route? Oh, do I still want to continue on this route? And she's actually in the process of preparing her retirement. And it's not like she's not making good money where she is. She is, but she's in a phase of life where she has taken a break. So look at that. That's at this age here. Yeah, she's at that phase where she has taken a break, right? And asking questions. So having done that, I hope everyone is currently in that state where you are able to situate where you are. Very important, we are all able to do that. And then I need to even put a caveat. If it so happens that you are slower than what was intended here, that is also not an issue. The founder of KFC, got his bearing when he was just in his 50s. So there's really no good time to start. You are not late. Whatever phase of life you are not late. Don't put yourself under undue pressure and don't beat yourself up for mistakes made in the past. Don't beat yourself up feeling that everybody is far ahead of you and you're not. It's no big deal. Your morning is when you find that aha moment. Yeah. So the 3 truths about success. The first is that there's no single secret to success. The reason why I'm starting with this is there are certain myths I want to debunk, because when we ask ourselves questions like, oh, I want to be successful, oh, 3 steps to attaining success, all of those things get us excited. But the truth is, there's no one single pathway to success. If somebody says, oh, I have the secret to success, it's diligence, yeah. If someone says it's diligent, then the people who do blue collar jobs that are, say, on construction sites, who are having to labor so hard every day, morning till evening, and they earn so little, something barely enough to feed the family, they should be the successful ones, right? Not those sitting in the offices. So if you say, oh, it's not really diligent, you have to work smart. I know a lot of people who work hard and who work smart, and by their standard of success, they are still not there. So there's no single secret to success. Yeah? I'm going to show you what success truly is, but these are things we first need to debunk. The second thing is that success is not something you find. I mean, if someone says, oh, I found success, it's not true. Success is a journey. It means while you're going on, you're going to fail. Just the other day, I found that Google had about over 100 failed products. I was shocked because I had no idea that they had up to that amount of failed products. But Google is Google, the #1 search engine in the world. But then they've had a lot of failed projects, over 100, right? So if they decide to calculate and say, oh, I've had 100 failures, I'm not yet, I'm not successful. Is that really true? Or in spite of my failures, I have Google already, so I'm successful. Is that really true? Success is not something you find. It's a journey. So it means that when the failure comes, it's still a part of your success story, a part of your success journey. When disappointments come, it's still a part of your success journey. And the final thing is that there's no foolproof technique to success. This one, I just love it so much because I have a lot of people who tell me that when they want to rest, if you're tired and I say, oh, go and rest, just go and sleep. What they define as rest is stay in, relax, Netflix, sleep, right? But for some other people, someone like me, if you want me to relax, especially when my mind is overworking, and you tell me and you send me to bed, it's impossible. I won't be able to sleep. I need a book. I need to read something. It will help me sleep. Or even better, I need to cook. And when I'm talking about cooking, I'm not talking about this 2 minutes cooking. I'm talking about cooking that can take me about 3 hours. As I'm slicing the onions and putting it in the plate, slicing the pepper, it just gives me a sense of relaxation, a sense of clarity. Yeah. So for somebody else, you say relax. The best way to relax is to cook for 3 hours. I mean, you're punishing somebody else. And you tell someone like me that, oh, the best way to find relaxation is to just jump into bed and sleep. You're punishing me because I'll just be tossing left, right, center. My mind will still not be clear until I have either read a book that relaxes me, then I can sleep. Or I do a massive cooking, then I can sleep. I know someone else, the way she relaxes is to run. I mean, when she's tense and she needs to clear her head, the first thing she does is just put on her joggers and she's going out to the estate and she's jogging around. That is how she finds her peace. By the time she returns, she's relaxed. Even if she doesn't sleep, you will see that relaxed aura around her when she returns. So there's no foolproof technique to success. That it works for one person does not necessarily mean it's going to work for another person. Yeah? So that brings us to the 6th life exercise. And this is very important because it's still going to further buttress all of the 3 truths about success I just mentioned. Right? Let me open my own document on the 6th life exercise. Good. So we have the teacher, the wealthy investor, the tennis pro, the stonemason, the banker, the non-profit executive. So now we have different options, and I recall one of the things mentioned in the workbook was that there's no right or wrong answer. And at the end of this session, I'm going to send you a document that interprets your choices. Deliberately, I didn't send it before the class so that you don't, based on what is sent, choose. So let's begin with the teacher. When we look at the teacher, right, psychologically, those who chose teacher as number one did so because most likely they are very passionate about being a mentor. Most likely. Now, there's a reason I said there are no right or wrong answers, because at the end of it all, we choose based on our experiences. Whether our choices are right or wrong is a different issue. And at the end of it all, we're going to even find out how our experiences affected our choices and how our choices create a pathway for us. So if you chose the teacher, most likely you love meeting people, helping people evolve into the best version of themselves, But those who picked the teacher last, most likely are looking at her family life. They're saying, oh, this person had one child she's no longer in contact with, so there's a fracture in the home life of this story. And so people are reluctant to endorse it as a successful life, yeah? If you chose the banker, some say the banker is a single woman, with a child coping with a severe disability. She has no partner, and she's very dedicated to her professional life. She has turned her family situation into an asset because she's now a marathon runner, and she's using money from that to help facilitate a cause for children with disabilities, right? So those who chose this as number one, what they are looking at in her life is the autonomy she has over her choices, over her time. So even her friends that are saying, oh, put your child in a facility, right, so that you can focus on life, she's saying, no, this provides meaning for me, yeah? And so for the banker, those who chose the banker, they are those who feel that she's an autonomous person. They like her sense of control. They want to have it. But those who chose it at the bottom, they see having a child with a disability as a burden. They don't want it, especially for those who have had to experience it. They had to re-choose their life. There are some who would not choose this. They will put this at the bottom, yeah? And so for the wealthy investor, I'm just trying to hurry through this. But for this particular time of life exercise, I'm going to send a very, very concise document detailing the interpretation of your choices, right? So for those who chose the stonemason, well, those who chose the stonemason are probably attracted to his sense of family. This man has children. All his children are doing beautiful in life. He has a beautiful career, he has awesome craftsmanship, yeah. He's making impact in his small community. But those who pick it last, they see that this man's impact is just within his community, more like a local champion thing. Even magazines have not even endorsed him, saying, "Oh, this is the best stonemason in the community and stuff." So those who put him at the bottom, they see that this person does not have recognition outside of skill. This person is just working and working and working, and there's no sense of external validation for this person. Yeah. So now those who choose the tennis pro as first probably have seen his accomplishment on the court. They've seen that, oh, this guy appeared on the cover of the magazine. I would like to do that as well. They see the tennis pro as someone who is successful in the traditional sense of the word successful, right? She has a family, she has a partner, even though they can't have biological children. Although those, on the other hand, who rank the tennis pro near the bottom, they point to her life and say, oh, this woman is so busy with life and her profession. She doesn't have time for the children, right? So they see this as her having a difficulty in work-life balance. So they put her as the bottom. Yeah. For the non-profit executive, those who put him first look at the fact that, oh, he has a successful career. This man is filthy rich, very, very rich. And he quit it to go to a rural area to serve. They see him repurposing his professional skills to a greater cause, right? So this appeals to some people. They feel like, my God, this is something so sacrificial. This is something I'd really love to do. Just quit everything and move there. But those who put it at the bottom are looking at the fact that, hey, this is a family disaster waiting to happen. These children are already well ingrained in their social life here in the city. They have friends, they're in school, and you want to uproot them and take them to the village. You're about to have a family catastrophe on your hands. So they put this person towards the end. Now, one thing to know is that your personal experience tends to color which profile you rank as the highest or the lowest, right? Depending on your hopes, your fears, your fantasies, your experience. Different factors make us choose. Oh, I didn't know my video was off. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So different factors make us choose what we choose. But the question to answer now is, having done the 6 life exercise, the question is, if you are told to choose the lives for your child, will the order still be the same? I mean, when I carried out the exercise, I had an order, but immediately the question came that, oh, now you have to choose for your child. What kind of life would you have your child do? My answers actually changed. Not many people will change their answers, but for a lot of us in that class, our answers really changed. So I'm asking you, having done your time of life exercise, in the order you've arranged it for yourself, is that something you truly want your child to also become? Is that a life you want your child to live? Or you will have something to change? That's food for thought. Now you're going to see the reason why we did the 6 life exercise. The reason we did it is because if you've observed, you'll find that there were 2 sides we were looking at. There are 2 sides to success. The first side to success is the outer life success. That's the first side to success. And the outer life has to do with achievements, career recognition, celebrity status, respect from others, the roles you play, and the social occupation. It deals with the typical sense, the traditional sense of what we call success. When you look at someone driving a Lamborghini, living in a very heavy mansion, very heavy apartment, you're asking yourself, this is the kind of life I want to live. Sorry, showing my network here is bad. Can you still hear me? Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. If at any point you can't hear me, please just indicate, because I think I'm having network issues. I'm having to switch gadgets. Okay, so the 2 sides to success. In the traditional sense of it all, this is what we define success as. So somebody comes in driving a very heavy car, living in a very superb house, that when you walk in, you're like, geez, am I in heaven? This person has money in their accounts, travels all over the world. This person is recognized globally. Automatically, when you look at that life, you say, wow, this person is very successful. Yeah? And there are those who don't see success in that way. They see success, they see their inner life success. And for them, success is when you have happiness, when you have inner joy. Your family life is okay. You're good to go. Now, both are not wrong. And if someone sees, so you're going to see how these things have informed your choices in the 6 life exercise. For someone currently who maybe works in an organization where you're making a lot of impact. You're teaching the students. Let's use the life of the teacher as an example. You're teaching your students when they graduate, they come back to you to hug you, to tell you thank you, even send you gifts saying, oh, as a teacher, you transformed my life. Some people just find success in that. And there are those who are doing all of those things diligently, but they're asking themselves questions like, my mates are driving so and so kind of cars. I'm not. I need to be able to do this. And they're not contented with, they're not okay with where it is they are. It's not a problem in itself. The reason we are looking at these two sides to success is to let you know that both are possibilities. The problem is sometimes we focus a lot on the outer life success that we ignore the inner life success. And there are those actually who focus on the inner life success and are not interested in the outer life success. Personally, I know I'm interested in both. I want to have the outer life success without jeopardizing my inner life success. And that's what this conversation today is about, having both. So you're going to see that the choices you made in your 6 life exercise. For example, there was a group I was with when we carried out the 6 life exercise. Someone's order was the wealthy investor, I think. And when asked why, the person was like, hey, I want to have all the money in the world. Somebody else's was the non-executive, the non-profit executive. Someone placed the non-profit executive last. And when asked, why did you do that? She said, as a child, she actually experienced that. They were doing fine in the UK. And their parents were like, oh, we have to come back to Nigeria. We're going back to the village. There's a mission work we have to do. And they were uprooted from UK to a rural area. And they hated it. Till they were able to leave home, they hated that decision. They were so upset with their parents for doing that. And so she was saying that she never wants to allow her child have to ever go through something that's terrible, right? But for somebody else, that person is looking at the fact that, my God, this is impact. This is a divine call. This is an honor, right? To be able to do something like this. So you see how our experiences affect the things we do. But when we begin to ask, oh, how do you want your child's life to be like? Many times, especially for many parents I've asked, the first thing they say is, I want my child to be happy. I want my child to live a happy and fulfilling life. Those are usually the areas they first talk about before they start talking about the fact that, oh, I want my child to have global recognition. I want my child to be a celebrity. I want my child to be this. I want my child to be that. But more often than not, at least for 90% of the parents I've spoken to, when you say, how do you want your child's life to be? The first thing is, I want my child to be happy. But you find that when we, as adults, as mothers, choose, we find that many a times we are looking more like, see, I've suffered in this life. If I'm to choose, I cannot be choosing something that's not bringing money in. You see the difference. You see how experiences shape us. Now, having the outer life success and having the inner life success is the goal. And that's what makes the 8-star woman. The 8-star woman, I'm going to be taking you through 8 dimensions that the woman should be and how to be. So get your workbook ready. We're going to be doing the second exercise soon. The 8-star woman is a woman that is emotionally stable. She's hale and hearty. That's a big tick in the physical dimension of wellness. She's smart and creative. She has good relationships. She creates clean and safe environments. She's connected to her sense of purpose and the grand organized designer. I like to call the grand organized designer a supreme being, so that whatever religion anyone practices, you can find your sense of purpose in that. Yeah. So she finds balance between work and leisure. And then she's financially independent. These are the hallmark of the 8-star woman. Now, when we look through these, I'm very sure there are areas you will see here in these 8 stars that you will tell yourself, I'm not really doing fine here. This is good, but this other aspect of my life, not so good. Yeah. all of this, ticking the boxes of all 8 is what makes the inner life success and the outer life success synergize. So how do we evolve into becoming an 8-star woman? That will take us to, okay, someone is asking a question. Please, can you recap? Okay, to take the 8-star. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's do this. So the 8-star woman. Okay. All right. The 8-star woman. The 8-star woman, the first part, she's emotionally stable. Right? You know, in society today, one of the things they say about us women is that, she's too emotional. Is that really true? By tomorrow, there are many other things we are really going to get into. Today is just to set the pace, and just allow us have a foundation to build on. So the 8-star woman, she's emotionally stable, right? She's hale and hearty. So this woman does not joke with her health, right? So as an 8-star woman, you know that you have to be health conscious. You have to take care of yourself physically. You have to look good. You have to smell good. You have to eat good. You have to be good physically, right? She has good relationships. So she's not just sucked up in work that she can't build relationships outside work, right? She has good relationships with her husband, with her children, with, say, colleagues, with friends. She has good relationships, right? She's smart and very creative. She's connected to her sense of purpose. That's very important as women, because one of the things that happen to us as women is that once marriage happens, somehow we just tend to lose ourselves and forget ourselves in the marriage. Yeah. And when children comes, it even gets worse. Sometimes you just forget that before you became a wife, before you became a mother, you were first a woman. So there's that sense of purpose. Because I've met with quite a number of women who lost themselves in the marriage, in motherhood, and by the time they looked back, they realized that although they were doing things for others, they never had time to do anything for themselves, and then they are filled with regret. So for those who are still very young, right, and everyone here basically, because we're all young, it's crucial that we discover purpose, that there ought to be an anchor. There should be an anchor from which we operate, right? And there's even research as well to show that those who have a sense of connect, a sense of submission to a higher being, to a supreme being, tend to have clearer minds than those who do not. There's a research that I stumbled on about a year ago. I don't have the exact company that did it, but I can do the research and send it if you want it. Yeah. So an 8-star woman is connected to her sense of purpose, and she also has a relationship with a brand organized designer. And you're going to see where this comes into play soon, right? She creates clean and safe environments. This woman is neat. When you come into her space, you are odd. I'm not talking about the fact that, say, you live in a mansion or something. No, even in a one-bed apartment, the apartment should be clean enough, be safe enough that when someone walks into it, they know that, oh, this person is taking care of this place. Yeah. And then for financial wellness, she's financially independent. It's very important that women find financial independence. Now, this is not saying that, especially for those who have partners, this is not saying that you have to start hiding things from your partner, or you have to hide your own money so that you spend his own money and then you're keeping your money so you can be financially independent. No, at all. We believe in TSAG and Tibo, we believe in the synergy of marriage. We believe in the synergy of that union. We believe strongly that the man and woman should come together, make decisions, be open to one another, no secrets, no hidings, no fear, right? So she can be financially independent. I'll tell a story I saw yesterday on a very popular Instagram influencer's profile. I'm sure some of the people who follow her, when I share the story, you will know exactly the person I'm talking about. So she put up a post yesterday and said she had an aunt who was so entrepreneurial that she was making a lot of money, making money in millions, having investments in the real estate, had properties almost all over Nigeria. She was doing fine, spending her dividends without even having to touch business money. She was doing really okay. Everything in her life was fine, but she didn't have a husband, right? So for her, in spite of everything she had, wanting a husband was what she desperately wanted. So you can see how the two sides of success play out, right? The inner and the outer. This woman has everything that a lot of people are looking for. A lot of women want to be this independent financially. And this woman had it all, but she still did not find fulfillment in that. Her own definition of a successful woman happened to be the inner success. So eventually, in her desperation, she got married to a man. The first thing she did was to change the names on all of her documents to her husband's name. And that was because the man kept pestering her that, am I not the crown of your head? Why are you not, including me in this? She literally picked this man up, set him up, gave him a job, bought him cars, changed all of her documents to his, gave him access, complete access to her account. And this man did not just sell off all of her properties. He actually sold completely everything that she had worked for. And then started he became like a sugar daddy on the streets of Lagos. He became a sugar daddy on the streets of Lagos, buying his side chicks things. We were even told that, according to what she wrote, she said he bought a Benz for one of his side chicks, and this woman, when asked, why did you give this man access to all? She was like, see, I just want peace to reign in my family. Eventually, woman, okay, someone is, please, can we mute? Okay, so she gave him access to all, and he ruined her completely, ran everything down to the ground. She made him the head of her business. The business went from 100 to 0, collapsed completely. And so at the end of it all, when she had lost every single thing, that was when she eventually left the man. So currently she's in a state of trying to start all over again, right? Now, why did I share this story? Financial independence is an important thing for women, not because we are anticipating divorce in the future. No, not at all. Those things can happen. It does happen, but that should not even be the reason behind wanting to be financially independent. The reason for wanting to be financially independent is because there's a sense of pride it gives you as a person. Don't forget, you're first a woman before you became a wife, and then before you became a mother, right? So it helps remind you periodically that I am me first. I need to take care of me. I have something in my name, something that, and when I was responding to that story that she shared, one of the things I said was, a red flag is when a man is beginning to say, change your name to my name. He's insecure, and an insecure man is a very dangerous man. I mean, an insecure man, once you have an insecure man, please, financial independence should not even be toyed with at all. You need to have it, because an insecure man is a very dangerous man. But the reason for being financially independent as an 8-star woman is for you first. It's first for yourself, right? And then occupational wellness, finding balance between work and leisure. So these are the 8 dimensions that the 8-star woman ticks. That when you have all of this, you can successfully and categorically say, I am an 8-star woman. So how do we become 8-star women? That's what brings us to the wheel of life. My circle is slightly different from yours. If you have your workbook open, let me try to open mine here. If you have your workbook open, the second exercise, you're going to see the life clock there. the balance wheel. Okay, so but are we okay with the 8-star explanation? Let me see your responses in the chat. If you're okay with the 8-star. Are we? Okay. Okay. All right, so let me share my screen, the workbook. I hope you are with your workbook, because these things, the answers we get from here, it's not for today. It's not for today. It's going to be a lifelong journey. You're going to have reasons to keep revisiting because they are very, very important. Oh, okay, I can see someone saying she didn't get a mail. The workbook is on the pinned chat on the group, so you can also download it here if you didn't get the mail, but most likely the mail is in your spam. I can't access it now, and I don't know if the team is online here right now. Okay, so let me share my screen. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So this is the Wheel of Life exercise. The Wheel of Life exercise is a powerful tool to help you always remember to be an 8-star. What's here is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are just 7 quadrants here deliberately. We sliced this pie into 7 deliberately rather than the 8 we listed. And we did this because first we want you to know that you can personalize your balance wheel, your wheel of life to suit you. So for example, what's here is career, finance, spiritual, physical, intellectual, family, social. Yeah, that's what's here. For you, you can decide that, oh, okay, these are not the things I want to focus on now. These are the other things I want to focus on. But we're going to be using this 7 as our practical. So in this circle, you can see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Take notes. Now, as class assignment 1, look at this 7 and beside them, I hope you are with your book and pen because I'm with mine as well. Beside them, arrange it in your book. Which of these do you find the most fulfillment in? Right? Which of these is priority to you? Which of these do you want to start building immediately? Which of this is an urgency for you? Right? So arrange it in that order. So for some people, let me see. Okay. Okay, so for some people, oh, it's not working here. Okay, let me use my pen. So say for me, I'm writing social. Social is urgent for me. I need to build my social skills. So I write family as number 2. I write intellect. I want to be a creative woman as number 3. Say I write physical as number 4. Maybe I write career. Number 5, I write spiritual, number 6. Okay, what have I not written? I haven't written one. Oh, financial. Okay. So how would you arrange yours? What's the most important to you? You start with that. Just write it. This is maybe financial, number 1, maybe family, number 1, maybe spiritual, number 1. So arrange it in the order you want it to be. The second is now come into these boxes. You can see that each of the concentric circles have a value. So this value in here is 0. The second value after it is 1. The next is 2. In that order, ask yourself the first question. So let's pick financial, for example. How financially stable am I on a scale of 0 to 10? Tick your answer. Yeah? Go to the next one. Career. On a scale of 0 to 10, how fine am I faring in my career? Write it in front of it. Just put the number in the box. Social. On a scale of 0 to 10, how well am I doing? Write it. For family, on a scale of 0 to 10, how fine am I doing? Write it. For physical, intellectual, on a scale of 0 to 10, how far am I doing? Write it. On a scale of physical, right, on the physical scale, how well am I doing on a scale of 0 to 10? Write it. Have you done that? Let me see if you've done that so that I can continue, because I can't continue if you've not done that. Right? So let me take it again. You have all of those circles. Write out what's most important to you. Physical, social, family, intellectual. Arrange it in the order of your priority. This is what will make me happy, in this order. When you've done that, then pick each of them. For social, how well are my relationships thriving? My relationship with my husband, is it working fine? My relationship with my boyfriend, is it working fine? My relationship with my daughter, with my son, is it going well? My relationship with my friend, is it going fine? Intellectual, okay, how well am I feeding my mind? How well am I thriving creatively? How well am I building my personal self, personal development? How well is that going? For physical, how well am I taking care of myself? Am I eating right? Am I resting right? Because in this dispensation, rest is now becoming a luxury, and it shouldn't be. You need to find time to rest. How well am I exercising? How well am I taking care of my skin? How well am I making my hair? Right? Just physically, how well are you? Spiritually, how well am I connected to purpose? Have I even found purpose? If I found purpose, how ingrained am I? How beautiful is my relationship with a grand organized designer? Right? Those are questions you're asking. Career, how well am I progressing in my career? Am I at a ceiling? Am I plateauing? Am I thriving? Is my organization toxic? Is it beautiful? Right? So you're asking those questions. And on a scale of 0 to 10, you are imputing. So let me see your answers. Or if you don't want to share your answers, just type done in the chat box so that I can continue. Because I can't continue if we've not done this. I hope we understand. Okay, Tifash done. Okay, done. Okay, Adina done. Thank you. Okay, so having looked at that, okay, let me wait for maybe 2 more responses and I will go on, because not many people are online today, right now, but more are joining as they close from work. So keep it coming. You'll find why this is very important, why what we are doing is important. Because going back to the 6 life exercise, the reason we chose what we chose is because of what we prioritize as important in our lives. And for the woman, the story I shared about the woman whose husband, drained her business, for her, family was important. And probably if she had known that, she would have known steps to take, what to watch out for, right? So for somebody else, the money would have been the important part for her, but she had the money, she had the connect, she was intellectually sound, physically she was doing fine, financially she was of course on point, but family wise she wasn't doing so well, right? Okay, so let's continue. Let me use mine so that I can show you. Mine is slightly different. Okay, let me share my screen again. Okay, my screen is being shared. All right, so you're going to have something like this on your workbook. If it was printed, you're going to have something like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This person was a number 9. He's a number 9 for career, number 9 for finance, number 8 for spiritual, number 5 for physical, number 7 for intellectual, 8 for social, 5 for emotional, 8 for environmental. So for this person, at a glance, this is what it looks like. Now, how do we make sure that we expand that box so that overall we get to a point where we can confidently say, oh, I'm finally an 8-star woman? That's why if you remember at the very beginning, one of the things I said about the 3 truths of success is that success is not a destination, it's a journey. There's no bus stop. Okay, I can hear a disturbance. Please, can you mute? Please, can you mute? Someone is on the okay, I've done that. All right. So you find that success is not something you find, it's a journey. It's a journey. And so you have done the time of life exercise. The next question is, amongst all of these things you chose, amongst everything you chose, which was your number 1? Right? So say okay, I can use this as my example. I hope you can still see my screen. Okay, so let's say for me, career was number 1. Let's say emotional was number 2. I know our data is different, but you understand what I'm saying. Let's say social was my number 3. Okay, let's say spiritual, let's say okay, this was number 4, and so on. So now, based on this, my number 1, which is career, is already on a 9. So all I need is just one push to make me say, oh, by 10, I am made. This is the peak of what I wanted to have or to experience in my career. So I'm asking myself, what is that one thing I can do to push me to that place? And so you itemize it. It's going to be different for different people. For some people, it will just be a 2-year plan. Oh, in these 2 years, I need to accomplish this. When I accomplish this, I know I've hit the peak of my career. You write that out. My number 2 is emotional. And I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So maybe I'm at 6 emotionally. I'm asking myself, okay, why am I at 6? And what can I do to push myself from 6 to 7 or to 8 or to 9? You understand? Right? Don't be in a hurry to take it from 6 to 10, bam, directly. It could be very tasking. So just push it one step at a time till you get to your destination. And you pick each of them that way. Now, the first thing to know is that you can't always do all of them at the same time. And that's why they are numbered. That's why it's numbered, that this is the first thing, this is the most important to me. I know that if I get 2 to 7 right and number 1 is not fine, I still will not feel fulfilled. That's why it's number 1. So you ask yourself, for this number 1, in order to ensure that I don't fall into that trap of being ungrateful, that every other thing is working, but this one, and still I'm not content, you come to number 1 and ask, what can I do differently? And you begin to work on it. Sometimes number 1 is all you will focus on first, right? For some people, they can handle the task of doing number 1 and 2 and 3 at the same time, right? But for some other people, they need to pour their all into 1. So by the time you push 1 to where it's supposed to be, you're going to feel very fulfilled. You'll be able to go to number 2. Ask yourself all the questions you need to ask. First, why am I sick emotionally? Oh, I just had a heartbreak and I'm healing from it. Okay, fine. So how do I heal from this heartbreak? Am I just to go into a relationship immediately now and have a rebound? Am I to, find time and explore and find purpose? The beautiful thing about doing the wheel of life is that some of these dimensions interact with each other in a way that when one thrives, it can help the other. And I'm going to be sharing a free ebook today, by the end of today. It's going to show you the interconnectivity of all of the dimensions of wellness. It's a story, but in the story, there are also explanations. It's going to really, really explain what I'm saying a greater deal. So, for someone who is able to move career from 9 to 10, you find that it's going to uplift her spirit. And so by default, this is also going to move, even if there's a heartbreak that's to be healed from, right? That's my ink. Okay. Okay. So when this is thriving, it's going to affect this, even though there's a heartbreak she needs to heal from. But the fact that the most important thing in her life, which is career, is working fine, is going to boost this and probably make it move here, right? So while she's getting better emotionally, right, and she's finding fulfillment here, it might affect this, where she needs to continually discover purpose, because purpose-driven leadership will help career, which will further help her emotions, right? Her emotions are doing fine. It becomes easy for her to want to say, now let me improve myself. Let me take a personal development journey to help me, because she's in a good place emotionally. When she does that, this is going to directly affect this again. So you see how they are all interconnected. But the important thing about the wheel of life is you being able to identify what's most important to you. And in that order, begin to treat it. Because as you treat the most important things to you, it's going to affect the other dimensions, and even help you evolve faster into the 8-star woman. So you're going to have to go back to the wheel of life, sit with it, and ask yourself critical questions. Why am I where I am now? That's the first question. And then what can I do to move from point A to point B? So before I continue, I don't know if this is clear. Oh my God, I messed up the screen. Is it clear before I move on? Don't worry, we're going to have time to ask as much questions as possible today. I'm about rounding off. I'm going to the very last slide. So do we have further questions? Let me see the charts. Can't see it properly here. Okay, discount. Okay. Yeah, so can I proceed? Can I proceed? I want to know if I can continue or if I should take it all over. No questions, and yes, you can proceed. Okay. All right. So the final slide is the AAHA system of thought. Now, the AAHA system of thought is it's something that as women we should remember, because society puts a lot of pressure on us. Tomorrow we're going to be talking a great deal about these things. Like I said earlier, today is just to set the foundation so that we are in a particular state of mind before we then go into building structures on what has happened today. The AAHA system of thought is something that's very critical, not just at work, but even also at home. And you're going to find out why in a bit. The AAHA is it's an acronym derived from these 4 entities: the authoritarian, altruistic, humanity, and ascendancy. Okay, so these are the four. What does it mean? The AAHA system of thought speaks to a pathway. It's a mindset re-engineering pathway that we women should have. So let me first speak to the AAHA system at work, and then I'll bring it to the home place. So at work, let's say you're a boss, because there are entrepreneurs here, or you are an employee yourself, irrespective of where you are, either a boss, an employee, an employer of labor, you have a jurisdiction to operate in. So as a boss, you have people who respond, who submit to you. As the employee, you have your tasks that is completely in your custody. When you were employed, you were given a JD that is your scope of operation. Authoritarian speaks to the fact that as a woman, you have to always remember that there's authority that has been placed in your hands that belongs to you and to you alone. Look at it in the sense of being a lion, dominant, right? I'm not saying be what's the word now? Be a bully, or to be oppressive. No. But to be authoritative. A lot of times, and even when we've gone to corporate organizations to train, one of the things you would find consistently, especially in the boardroom, is the fact that when women are speaking unintentionally, because it's one of the things we've tried to decipher, is this thing intentional or is it not? Unintentionally, you find that she's being shut down, or when she gives an idea, she's apologizing for it because she's not entirely sure. But when a man brings up that same idea, he brings it up with confidence. And so because of her lack of confidence, the idea can, be swept away. But this is reminding you that, see, in your scope, in your jurisdiction, in your sphere of influence, you have the authority. Don't forget it. Always remember, don't be apologetic for having the authority and for wielding it when appropriate. So you're a boss, but you want to be so friendly with your employees that you are afraid that if I give this person feedback now, this person might be offended. No, you are the boss. You are authoritative. This is your scope of influence. Utilize the authority given to you. You're an employee, but this is the scope you were given, and somebody is coming to encroach on it. You have every right to speak up that, no, this is how I want it done. This is what was given to me. This is how it's supposed to be. Now, the altruistic part is to ensure that in as much as you understand your dominant role and you understand that the authority has been given to you, that you are the lion, if I should put it in that way, it's to remind you that irrespective of the fact that you are the lion, you have to be the lamb as well. You have to be meek. Now, I'll ask a very simple question. If you have a boss who is very authoritative, when he comes in, with his face all squeezed up, he gives you instruction, does not want to hear your feedback, wants you to execute, doesn't care how you feel about it, he's just bam, bam, result driven, doesn't care for the emotional context of how you feel or the emotional context of the workplace, and he's just, or she's just bam, I've said it, it's done, no argument, right? You have that kind of boss. And then you have another boss who just wants to be everybody's friend, afraid to step on toes, and it's just, somebody does something to challenge her authority, and rather than set that boundary, she's scared to do so that she's not seen as a wicked boss and just lets it go, right? If you have these two people, how comfortable will you be working with either of them, knowing that this is my leader who doesn't provide leadership? I'm the one having to take initiative. I don't even know the direction of the company. This woman is not saying anything. And then this woman who says everything doesn't want anyone to contend with her, doesn't want anyone to bring up a different opinion, does not want anyone to even have a say. What's said is law and done. if you have these two people as leaders, you're still not going to be comfortable in the workplace. The kind of leader everybody wants is the one that understands his authority, but is also approachable, so that there's that balance. So when a leader of authority walks in, and you can say, oh, this person knows what she's doing. This person is purpose driven. This person understands leadership. But the person still opens her door to say, if you have something to communicate, come to me. That's the kind of leader we want. And that's why there's altruistic there to balance out the authoritarian. I call it the lion and the lamb approach, right? If all you are is altruistic, you're going to be a people pleaser and you're going to be a doormat. People are really going to step on you without apology. You're going to feel resentful because you are expecting and assuming that these people should know that they are going out of line, but you don't say anything to create that boundary, and therefore you just, you bottle these things up. You become the people pleaser. Everybody rides on you. That's what happens if all you are is altruistic without having your sense of authority properly ingrained in you. If all you are is authoritative and there's no single altruistic component in you, you're going to be a tyrant. And you're going to be someone people will say, women bosses, they are very, very wicked. I've had a lot of people say that. But I've had beautiful women bosses. I've had women bosses that I salute. I'm like, no, you're a leader, right? But some of my colleagues have not had that experience. They feel that the women that lead them are tyrants. And the only reason it happens is because we are in a male-dominated system, right? Where women have to work twice as hard as their male counterparts over something that, should be equally balanced. And so when women get to that place of authority, many times you find them wanting to just wield this first A without having the second A to balance it out. Now, this is very important in the work dimension. Even at home, especially in your relationship with your child, it's also as important. You need to be authoritative with your child. There are periods you set boundaries. There are times where they want to do something and you veto it and say, no, this is it. But if that's all you do, your child will be distant from you. Your child will not like you. Okay, I can assure you it doesn't only happen in Nigeria. Thank you for sharing, honestly. So that balance must be there. Even at home, it must be there. Otherwise, your child will find it difficult to come to you, and they will join the other legion of teenagers, especially saying that, oh, my parents don't even understand me. And then they go find comfort out there, make mistakes, and then we wonder, oh, how did I miss it? It's just from this simple pathway. Right? So you have to ingrain it. I'm authoritative. I have the authority to decide. But then, in spite of the authority I wield, I'm empathetic to my people as well. I'm empathetic to my colleagues as well. I'm empathetic to my child. I'm empathetic to my spouse. Right? So, the altruistic dimension just balances out the authoritarian dimension. Right? So, that's the first pair. The second pair is, having been a lion and a lamb, you need to remember your humanity. One of the problems women also face is that because we are trying to prove ourselves, and unfortunately we need to keep proving ourselves until the concept of a patriarchal system is completely eroded. Until then, women are consistently forced to keep proving themselves, and they forget that they are human beings. And so you find women working back to back, not having time to rest, scared to take vacation because somebody might just come in, especially in industries like the marketing industry, where you have to always be on ground advertising, So we need to remember we are humans. So women bosses here as well. This is something you need to hold very dear to your heart. You're also a human being. And that also implies that there are times where you will forget that you're supposed to be altruistic and all you are is authoritarian. And you're going to back at someone and just veto someone. And then you look back and realize, oh, that was very harsh. That was a mistake. You forgive yourself for it. That's what the humanity dimension is. The humanity dimension of this system of thought is saying that irrespective of what you do, wanting to be at the very head of the ladder, wanting to make sure that those who work under you do not just see you as a woman, but they see you as a leader, right? Wanting all of those things can make us just stay in that state of being authoritarian. And we're going to make that mistake sometimes, hopefully not always, but we're going to make those mistakes. Your humanity reminds you that, see, I've made this mistake, I'm sorry, and then you'll go back to say, I'm sorry. And in saying I'm sorry, you are reactivating the altruistic part of this system of thought. Humanity, always remember, I need to rest. My body is not wood. I recall a story I read of a woman who, she was also a corporate guru. When she gets home, her husband was the kind of person who wanted fresh meals daily. I've encountered people like that as well, who want fresh meals cooked daily. Now, this is a woman who works on the island and lives on the mainland. And so, you already understand the time she's leaving home. You already understand the time she's coming back home. And when she gets home, she's having to make food because her husband did not make food, waiting for his wife to do. And then she'll do it. And when she's done cooking, she comes back with unfinished work from the office and stays up, and then she's going to bed at about 2 a.m. only to be up at 3 to make fresh breakfast for husband and family, to get prepared for work, and by 4:30 she's out of the house moving. So she was sleeping like an hour, maximum 2 hours daily. This woman collapsed one day. Fortunately, she did not die, but she was at the verge of death. And what was her diagnosis? Exhaustion. That when I read it, I know as a physiologist, there are many medical terms we come in contact with, but that was the first time I ever realized that exhaustion can be a medical diagnosis for an issue. And it made me just sit back and like, I didn't know that. So we need to always remember our humanity. The final part is ascendancy, and that's why I was saying that the spiritual dimension of the 8-star woman that we spoke about, we're still going to revisit it here. Ascendancy speaks to laying. Okay, so ascendancy first balances out humanity, meaning that apart from the fact that we need to remember our weaknesses as humans, there are times where there are decisions, for example, to be made that because you are the last bus stop, the deck stops with you. You are the CEO, you are the boss, you are the entrepreneur, the founding partner of an organization. The buck stops with you, and there are decisions to be made, and there's no one else to talk to. Ascendancy helps to remind you that in spite of your humanity, there is a grand organized designer you can defer to, or a coach or a mentor that you can defer to. So you are ascending beyond the limitations of your humanity to tap into higher knowledge. Now, your higher knowledge can come from your religion or from your coaching session or from your healing session. It doesn't matter where it's, but it's coming from a higher sphere, right? So ascendancy balances out humanity. So the first two speaks to a behavioral process, right? What you do. The last two speaks to a state of mind to always remember that when you've done the first two, the last two will always be there. Your humanity will always come into play, whether positively or negatively. And then ascendancy is there to just back you up that, see, don't get overwhelmed. The bulk does not have to stop with you. You can defer. And in organizations where we have corporate governance, you see how that's very helpful, where the CEO can defer to the board and say, oh, okay, I need this decision. I can't do it on my own. It's not working out, and you defer. So ascendancy helps to balance out humanity. You made mistakes in the humanity dimension and you're finding it difficult to proceed. Ascendancy helps you. Your connection, your relationship with a ground organized designer backs you up, and then you're opening up to a mentor or to a coach, guides you on that path. And then with that, we come to the end of the first day of this coaching session. Okay, let me first answer questions before I explain tomorrow's assignment. So please, if you have questions, one of the things I had promised is that once we get to question and answer segment, I'm going to have to stop recording so that answer questions that are private stay private.